Hi, my name is Ellie and this is a 3-minute trail video on the East Munster Way. The East Munster Way is a 75-kilometre linear trail that heads east out of Clogheen, taking you along mountainsides and riverbanks all the way to Carrick-on-Suir. It was our 7th trail out of walking all 42 National Waymark trails, and it took us 3 days. Day 1 saw us walk from Clogheen to Newcastle. Day 2 saw us walk from Newcastle to the far side of Clonmel, and Day 3 saw us walk from there on to the end in Carrick-on-Suir. We started from Clogheen up the mountains towards Baylock. We walked along a lot of forest paths, climbing and descending as we skirted river gorges and moved above and below the tree line. Our climb brought us to Liam Lynch's Memorial, a large monument styled like a round tower about 8 metres tall. This is followed by a section of small country roads and overgrown lanes. That evening we took the optional detour into Newcastle, bought some food, and then walked back up to the trail and found somewhere to camp. After enjoying perfect sunshine on Day 1, Day 2 was quite a bit wetter and we had to trudge through frequent deluges of rain. Whole sections of the mountains were swallowed up as the downpours moved across the landscape. Our last major soaking was as we were walking along the crest of the mountains overlooking Clonmel. The descent into Clonmel is steep and harsh on the knees. However, it is one of the last major hills of the trail, and once arrived, there are plenty of options for coffee. From Clonmel, the trail is almost exclusively along the River Suir, with the final climb back up into the forestry, taking you within a 10-minute deviation to Powers of the Pot campsite. Our Day 3 started by leaving the campsite, making our way through a few more forestry tracks until we arrived at Kilsheelan and started back onto the river walking. From there to Carrick-on-Suir, it was easy going. There's a surprising number of castles and ruins along our way, and a refreshing number of benches. The River Suir is home to a lot of fishermen, and I'm sure it's because of them that the benches are there. Their small huts provided respite from the minor showers we met along the way. In Carrick-on-Suir, the East Munster Way ends and the South Munster Way begins. These two trails are part of the E8 walking route, a long-distance route that takes you from Dublin down across the country to either Cork or Kerry. The trail itself is fairly accessible via public transport. There are buses to Clogheen, Clonmel, Kilsheelan and Carrick-on-Suir. If you're looking for indoor accommodation, there are also options in Clogheen, Clonmel, Kilsheelan and Carrick-on-Suir. It's possible to camp along much of this trail, and there are 2 campsites relatively close by. Parsons Green, just outside of Clogheen, and Powers the Pot camping that we stayed in just outside of Clonmel. Whenever camping in Ireland, make sure to follow Leave No Trace principles and maybe check out our guide to wild camping that's also linked in the description. The terrain of this trail is a mixture of roads, lanes, forestry tracks and trails, requiring comfortable walking shoes or boots. There's a lot of climbing and descending along the trail, so I'd advise having some previous walking experience before setting out. As with all trails in Ireland, bringing waterproof gear is always necessary, as the weather here is very changeable and often very wet. For more information on what I've just said, please check out the description, where we'll leave loads of links to any other information we find and anything else we've made about the East Munster Way. And as with all our videos, this one is brought to you by the wonderful people who support us on Patreon. It is through their support that we were able to make these, so thank you so much. This week I would like to say a special thank you to Terry Rogers, Pauline Burras and Sasha Dalika. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next one. Have a nice week.